I would like to begin by noting that the culmination of this entire summer will take place between August 8 and August 11, 2025. Until September 5, 2025, a new architecture of the world will still be under construction. Saturn's ring remain invisible, and the powers are taking full advantage of this period when the usual boundaries of what is permitted have temporarily vanished. The sequence and interconnection of the most important transits and aspects is nothing short of astonishing. The conjunction of Mars and Ketu near the constellation Canes Venatici on July 21st promised something of a Black Swan nature. I strongly recommend reading Nassim Nicholas Taleb's The Black Swan to anyone interested in geopolitics. I had made a short video on this earlier. On July 18th, Trump signed the Genius Act, and after several days of waiting and weighing other events that will take place, I chose this one tied to the Mars Ketu conjunction. Mars Ketu means the cutting of old financial ties. The Magha constellation represents the throne and the authority of the ancestors, an activation of ancient structures, let alone Magha, very close to Maga. A law on stable coins is not just a document, but a ritual, the introduction of money into the digital reality under the royal seal of Magha. In light of the August aspects, they may serve as a trigger, an act that becomes the justification for future steps, perhaps emergency measures under the banner of saving the nation. Immediately after signing this act and an agreement with Ursula von der Leyen on 50% tariffs with the European Union, Trump, as if unwilling to wait for anything further, announced on July 29 that he was cutting Russia's ultimatum from 40 days to 10 to 12. That time frame lands exactly on August 8, the day of the Lion's Gate. On July 31st, under Mercury's Kazimi, Trump had a sudden flash of inspiration and fired back at Medvedev with a statement about deploying nuclear submarines to necessary locations. The fixed star Praesepe, or the Beehive cluster, long associated with the activation of nuclear themes in international affairs, was active at the time. Thankfully, it only stimulated Mercury, so nothing went beyond words and threats. Geopolitical analysts commented that this move was in fact a sign of Trump's weakness and impulsive reactions in situations where restraint would have been wiser. After all, the submarines were already stationed on those same key areas. What follows is a fateful full moon, after which Mars moves into direct opposition with Saturn. Mars at 7° Virgo stands opposite Saturn and Neptune at 7° Pisces, with exact aspects to Pluto and Uranus. So all outer planets are in the same degree. Mars in Virgo acts like a sharp surgical knife, swift and ruthless. Its conjunction with the fixed star Fecda is ominous, for in mundane astrology, such a transit can herald a sea of blood, socially significant murders, terrorism, and hostage taking. At the same time, Saturn and Neptune and Pisces are caught between two of the most destructive stars in the sky, Sheat, that is associated with disasters, revolutions, illness, downfall, and heavy losses, and Deneb Kaitos, known as the star of destruction, tied to reckless risks, irreversible changes, mass catastrophes, and widespread death. In essence, this configuration forms in a position between Mars, the planet of action, weapons, and aggression, and Saturn, the force of boundaries and authority, with Neptune representing masses and the collective illusions. Sextiles to Pluto and Uranus magnify the scope, pushing events onto a global stage with the quality of an irreversible crisis infused with elements of revolution and sudden upheavals. Fecda stains Mars with a blood-soaked tone, while Sheat and Deneb Kaitos turn it into a symbol of mass tragedy and the collapse of established structures. What manifestations can we expect in the world? I see a wave of violence, terrorist attacks, or political assassinations, mass unrest, and revolutionary flare ups. Natural disasters such as storms, floods, and collapses, which have been recurring since March 2025. And I made forecasts about this earlier. Check my past posts and videos. There may be also an intensification of psychological crisis, collective fears, mass hysteria, and rise in suicides. Warn everyone whose natal moon is afflicted. We may witness the loss of power or reputation of prominent figures. Trump. Symbolically, it is a harsh break between old structures and new forces. It is not unlikely that August will be the month when the news, as we know it, stops being news. What seemed like rumor yesterday may be headline material for tomorrow. The old order is cracking while the new one has yet to take form. Between the two lies chaos, blood, and a game with no rules. Here's the timeline. August 8, which is Lionsgate, the seed is sown. August 9, full moon in Capricorn in the nakshatra Shravana, whose symbol is ear. We can expect the leakage of information. The people hear what was never meant for their ears. August 10, Mars opposing Saturn and Neptune, a blow to old structures, potentially accompanied by bloodshed due to the activation of malevolent fixed stars. August 12 to September 5, Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune converge in the same degree, rewriting the architecture of the world. Notably, they remain in Pushkara Navamsha throughout this period, amplifying their influence twofold, if not threefold. So, what is the possible scenarios here? Possible terrorist attacks and bloodshed. Mars conjunct Fecda signals that the target may be symbolic, major cities, iconic figures, or places of power. Fall of leaders, because Sheat and Deneb Kaitos rarely pass without leaving their mark. In mundane astrology, they are called the stars of overthrow. This could manifest as a resignation, assassination attempt, sudden death, or the public disgrace of a key figure. Mass unrest and revolutionary surges. The opposition of Mars to Saturn is the clash of rage with the system, a moment when authority fails to withstand the pressure of the streets. Can be natural disasters. Sheat is strongly tied to the element of water, floods, storms, and destruction of port cities. Shadow wars of intelligent services can happen. The trines to Pluto and Uranus hint at a technological and covert dimension. It can be cyber attacks, leaks of classified documents, and dark operations behind the scenes. Then comes August 11, when Jupiter and Venus join at 19 sidereal Gemini, forming a trine to the conjunction of Rahu in the moon at 24-degree Aquarius. The aspect is close and precise. Most strikingly, this occurs only 4 degrees from Donald Trump's natal Mercury, which is also the Varshesha, ruler of his 2025 to 2026 year, position in his 11th house of gains. At the same time, the conjunction falls directly on Elon Musk's ascendant, with Jupiter serving as the Varshesha of Musk's own annual chart. To say that something fateful and decisive will occur in the lives of these two men would be an understatement. As always, in our world, wars and conflicts inevitably tie back to money and to the question of who rules the global stage. A Jupiter Venus conjunction sets the tempo in financial matters, and this one is no exception. Venus is traditionally linked with money, securities, and demand. Jupiter represents credit, capital expansion, and trust. Their conjunction usually brings a surge in liquidity and investor optimism, especially in consumer sectors, also technology and also entertainment and the arts. Ardra Nakshatra, the constellation that it's happening, is known as the nakshatra of crisis, tears, and sudden change. This signals volatility. The market may experience a sharp upward spike followed by an equally sharp correction. Ardra rarely produces a smooth trend. More often, it brings powerful swings fueled by emotional reactions among investors. Rahu at 24-degree Aquarius forms a trine to the conjunction. Aquarius rules technology, networks, innovation, and cryptocurrencies. Rahu in this position heightens speculative interest in the tech sector, digital currencies, blockchain companies, and AI technologies. It carries a tendency toward bubbles, rapid growth on news followed by potential crash. The moon's trine softens the turbulence, creating an atmosphere of trust and hope. Altogether, the activation of Jupiter and Venus in Gemini with Rahu and the moon in Aquarius strongly suggests a day marked by major events in the stock market. Check your own chart. Do you have, for example, a yoga for sudden gains, such as close conjunction or aspect between Jupiter and Rahu? If so, it may be worth paying attention to the stock market, or at the very least, trying your luck with a lottery ticket. Possible market scenarios include number one, a surge of optimism in technology and innovation sectors, especially in cryptocurrencies, tech, and digital assets. Also, probably the new stable coins. Number two, heightened volatility, rapid price increases followed by sharp corrections. Number three, growing interest in new financial instruments, which are stable coins, asset tokenization, AI startups. Number four, major institutional players capitalizing on the enthusiasm by taking profits from these fake bubbles. Number five, a potential Black Swan event in the coming months tied to digital currency regulation or a sudden news shock, with Rahu in Aquarius amplifying the element of surprise. Now, let's analyze the Jupiter-Venus conjunction at 19-degree Gemini for Trump. For him, it falls directly on his natal Mercury. I would interpret it as the moment of a program upload, one that began on July 18. The entire month of August is likely to unfold as a consequence of this conjunction. Ardra signifies storm, destruction, and purification. Its ruler Rahu often brings powerful and unexpected turns. The fourth pada is linked with emotion, heightened sensitivity, strong speech, and influence through words. The role of Jupiter and Venus here are Jupiter expands Mercury's domain, amplifying Trump's words, negotiations, and strategies, while Venus adds an element of persuasion, charm, and financial undertones. Together, they create a potent mix of intellectual influence and financial signaling, suggesting that Trump's communications during this period may carry outsized impact, shaping not only politics but also the financial markets. Jupiter stands for wisdom, mentorship, politics, and the expansion of influence. Venus represents attractiveness, allies, diplomacy, and finances. Their conjunction on Trump's natal Mercury equal a major activation of speech, ideas, media presence, and financial initiatives. Let's consider how Mercury functions in Trump's chart. It rules his second house, which are finances, speech, and family, and 11th house, networks, allies, gains, mass support. It is also his Karesha, a concept I'm exploring in depth in a separate book that is in progress. When the Karesha is activated, it typically signals a crisis based resonance. Something significant arrives not through smooth growth, but through controversy, pressure, or conflict. Mercury is also Varshesha, lord of the solar return chart for this year for the Donald Trump, meaning this event defines the strategic tone of his entire year. Potential manifestations can be in politics, bold, high impact statements that create major resonance. His words could become a weapon, literally. In finance and legislation, can be new initiatives. The Genius Act is just the beginning. I see a likely intensification of support, possibly involving the emergence of powerful new allies or strategic partnerships. It's also significant for his public image. Venus may enhance his charisma and popular appeal, even if the events are divisive. In scandals or legal conflicts, because Mercury is the Karesha, this could all come through disputes, accusations, court cases, or major exposes. This conjunction could mark a turning point, not a smooth ascent, but a forceful and highly visible realignment of his narrative, alliances, and political capital. In a mundane context, this conjunction could serve as a bridge between financial reforms, which are stablecoins, um, US Treasury bonds, and Trump's political power. Considering that on July 18th he signed the Genius Act under the Mars Ketu conjunction, the sequence looks like the draw of a bow. July 18th, the string pulled. August 8th, Lionsgate, the first major release. What to expect in practice? It can be a major financial or political announcement. It can be a strengthening of his position through media noise, scandal, or revelation. A rise in mass support fueled by his words and rhetoric. A possible diplomatic shift, Venus may deliver an unexpected ally even from among former adversaries. Can be heightened focus on international issues, with Trump using the conjunction to showcase that he controls the new financial reality. Now, to Elon Musk. Jupiter and Venus join at 19-degree Gemini in Ardra directly on Musk's ascendant and natal Mercury. In his solar return, Jupiter is the Varshesha, which is chart ruler. Jupiter governs his 7 and 10 houses, which are alliances, partnerships, public status, and career, and Venus rules his 5th and 12th houses, creativity, speculation, hidden dealings, spiritual or foreign ties. While Mercury governs his 1st and 4th houses, self, body, identity, home, and roots, and sits in Bhadra Yoga, a powerful combination for intellect, strategy, and influence. It is striking that Trump and Musk have natal Mercuries in nearly exact conjunction. To me, this further confirms that they act in tandem, while much of what we see outwardly is theater and staged performance. For Musk, this moment signals the unveiling of a new level of his mission. A boost in personal authority, a groundbreaking technological or financial announcement, the formation of a global alliance. Ardra ensures it will not be quiet or smooth. Instead, it will come with a storm or scandal or massive resonance. This conjunction indicates that Musk is becoming a central player in the restructuring of the financial and technological system. If Trump represents the shot of a legislative arrow, Musk embodies its technical implementation and global rollout. They appear to be working in tandem. Trump provides the legislative framework, the Genius Act, and Musk supplies the technological platform, for example, through X or Starlink, potentially tied to digital dollar systems. We must also remember that a Jupiter Venus conjunction does not always act precisely on the day it occurs. Rather, it sets a trend and developmental direction in the economic sector until their next conjunction. This means that everything I have mentioned about the potential manifestations of these transits will remain relevant for both Trump and Musk and USA up until next meeting of Jupiter and Venus in November 2028. And ideally, we would watch this conjunction through a telescope, whether it is visible fully, partially, or not at all in a particular part of the world. It all matters. If it's completely obscured by clouds, then much like an eclipse, the effect in that region may be diminished. While preparing for this video, I bumped into information from Babylonian astrologer Krasi that Mars is becoming invisible till summer 2026. And therefore, a lot of things will be decided and done behind the scenes. Lots of plots and secret world affairs is to be expected. Time will show. Like, for example, there's some leaked information circulating in the internet. I don't know if it's true or not, that British special services are preparing an environmental disaster in international waters. Is it true? Can be, especially considering that I was talking about NATO escalation since spring 2025 and watching news of Baltic region countries. It seems like mass media is preparing their citizens for some sort of conflict and tension. Again, time will show. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe so you don't miss the next updates and publications. See you soon.